it's a pleasure for me to introduce uh, Gerry Park. He is the great great grandson of John Martin and John Martin and Susan Schulteis, and he lives in Carmel Valley. He's not too far away, and that's good because he makes a trip up here to keep us up to date on what happened with the Schulteis family, and you heard a little bit about Charlie and the Bear and how the Schulteis family helped and all that recovery, and Gerry, it's a real pleasure. He's got a muzzle loader here that it feels like it weighs 40 pounds, but he tells me it doesn't weigh 40, but it is pretty heavy. When you try to hold it out there, it's hard. Okay, so Gerry, what are you tell us today?
Whatever you want to learn.
Well, about the Schulteis family.
Okay.
We know they came here in the 1851-52 time and homesteaded this property, and then our family bought it from the ancestors in 1943. So we're fortunate to carry on. So it's a pleasure to do that.
Great to have you take care of it.
Well, yeah, we'll try to make sure the future people take care of it as well. Okay. All right. So Gerry's going to tell you a little about the Schulteis family, and I shared with Gerry the other day about the three bandits from Australia, right?
Yeah.
So how many of you know about the three bandits? Did you talk about that, Jay?
Why don't you tell them?
Well, there's different versions, so I don't want to say one is correct or one's not, but we understand that there were three bandits from Australia that jumped ship in San Francisco, and I don't know whether they killed somebody or robbed somebody, what they did, but there was a posse after them. And of course, they were heading to Santa Cruz, and guess what? They had to come up over this mountain. And in the process of coming over this mountain, they found this cabin right on the trail. The cabin that still exists up here, not more than 1,000 feet from us, as the old log cabin that the Schulteis family built in 1852. And so Grandma Schulteis, or Susan Schulteis at the time, she's a great-great-grandma, okay, she was in the house. They entered, and at gunpoint, I guess, forced her to cook them up some grub real quick so they could keep going. Well, she did that, and there's different versions of what happened next, but it's kind of a history mystery. So we have, for the kids, we have a history mystery wheel over there on the side. They get to learn a little bit of the history of what went on in the mountains between the three bandits that were here, also Mount Charlie and the recovery here in the log cabin. So the kids learned a little bit about what happened on the mountain. But what happened was later they found these three bandits out on Mount Charlie Road, and they weren't moving. Okay? So what do you think happened? Oh, guess we lost power again. Okay, can somebody go up and see if they get that PG&E hooked up again? Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get that down in a minute because I want to make sure you can all hear Gerry talk. Okay? I guess we didn't pay our bill or something. I don't know what happened. But anyway, so they found these three not moving on Mount Charlie Road. So we figure either Grandma Schulteis either poisoned them or Mountain Charlie shot him, or maybe the posse caught up with him. We don't know. But there's different versions out there, and it's kind of a history mystery. People say their version is right. I don't think we'll ever know, who's right and who's wrong. So it's a history mystery. We got more history mysteries going on around the mountain too. So the kids learn a little by history mystery. They seem to like that and enjoy it. So maybe we can get power back on if we pay our bill. I don't know.
I'll just talk loud and we'll just go for it.
Yeah, okay, Gerry. You want to be down here?
Yeah.
Right with the muzzle loader.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Okay, you guys are a great audience. You've been quiet. You've been so receptive to the talk. I'll make it real short. Like this. Here comes the power. Is this thing? It's on. I'll get away from it a little bit. Okay, I had a helper come in here in a few minutes if she's still around, and we want to honor you women. How many women have we got here? Look at that. Almost everything we talk about in history is related to men. And, you know, Mountain Charlie wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a woman. And so we would not be talking about Mountain Charlie if it wasn't for my great-great-grandmother. And I have 6 years ago, I gave a talk about them, and I found from the Los Gatos paper the final words on the lady that saved Mountain Charlie, and that's my great-great-grandmother. And so she was kind enough to read you one paragraph about what they wrote in the paper just over the hill, and it was from the family, so you know it's pretty true, because she just died a few days before the funeral, and this is out of the paper. So here, and this is a woman reading it. Yes.
Okay, so this is about my great-great-grandmother, and I don't want to mispronounce her name.
Schulteis.
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 Okay, it says she thought nothing of riding a distance of 30 or 40 miles, oftentimes in the most severe and tempestuous weather. Her skill in curing the sick and the unselfish provision which she was ever ready to make for all who came to her distress were the predominating traits of her character. One of the most noteworthy incidences in the lives of herself and her husband was in her rescuing of Charles McKinnon, a prominent pioneer rancher known as Mountain Charlie, who was attacked by a grizzly bear, completely scalped, and almost killed by the ferocious beast.
Thank you so much. Give her a hand. So that's a story of my great-great-grandmother. I'm very pleased to be related to him. You are right now sitting on my family territory from my heritage. Right over there, right behind that little building, is a low area, and in the wintertime it floods. In fact, the water even comes up into here sometimes if it's a real wet winter. And that was the lagoon. And water, can you imagine how high we are at the elevation at the summit? Water was a very precious commodity. So to have a lagoon is why my great-great-grandfather built the cabin right up here. He was 3 years younger than Mountain Charlie, so they were friends. Mountain Charlie lives over the hill here about a mile as the crow flies. And so they were very good friends. And whenever the news reached my great-great-grandmother that Mountain Charlie had been bit by the bear, she took care of him, kept him alive, or we would not be talking about Mountain Charlie if it wasn't for my great-great-grandmother. I know that. This gun came up the hill from Los Gatos. It took him 3 days to get here, and this was the gun that he had. He bought it in San Francisco. It is a muzzle loader, and you get one shot. If the bear's coming at you, you just get one chance to get him, or else he gets you. And you're welcome to look at it. You have to pull the ramrod out. You have to hold it up, pour your powder in it. You have to take your shot, wrap it in a fabric, put oil on it, put the gunpowder in, and tamp it all down. And then the thing weighs 14 pounds, so you almost have to shoot it really quick. You can't hold it out very long. And this was in my great uncle's, up in his attic when he passed away. I was able to get it. And in those days, we tried to restore stuff when I was a young person, and so it's been restored. I should have left it totally original, but did not. And so anyway, this is the gun that came up 3 days, because as was mentioned before, everything to get here was on a trail, either a horse, the width of a horse, or the Indians would walk up here to the lagoon as they went to Santa Cruz for commerce across. And so that's why they built here, as I said. And to get here, he wanted He just had married, and his wife had come over, my great-great-grandmother, Susan, and so this would be the gun they brought up. But the wagon was so wide, they had to clear the brush to get it through. So that's why it took him 3 days with his ox cart to get the furniture and his wife and kid from Los Gatos to here. And so that's basically the story. And here we are. We're still here. Every time there was a family reunion or a wedding or any kind of a celebration, it was right here, exactly where you are. Probably these trees were just saplings in those days. And this last year, I had the 150th year anniversary of the wedding of my great-grandmother. So it was right here too. It was up at the lodge. So thank you so much for being such wonderful, attentive people. And Roger, I'll give it back to you if you have any other questions. And you're welcome to come and see the gun. Also, thank you. Also, I do have about a half a dozen or dozen copies from 6 years ago when I when I did the talk about the family. And so one sheet has a timeline from the Indians to the last person born in the log cabin, and the other one is kind of the rest of the history of my great-great-grandmother's eulogy. Okay, thank you so much. You're a wonderful audience.
Yeah, let's give Gerry a big hand. And Gerry, don't go away. We got something for you here. For all of the times and years that you've provided us with more history on your family and the area, we'd like to recognize you. That is the Lumber Prieta Museum team, which includes about 20, almost 20 people at this point. Would like to recognize you by giving you this certificate of appreciation made out to you, and we wish you the best. And maybe turn around here so all can see it. If you get your binoculars out, you'll be able to see it. But thank you, Gerry, for all of the times you've come up here and shared the history with us, and we really appreciate that, and would like to thank you again.
It's an honor.
Yeah.
I'd like to say one more thing.
Okay.
I am the most thankful that this gentleman has the property now. He hasn't turned it into a big hotel or high-rise or bulldozed it all over. It is exactly like it was 150 years ago. It's unbelievable. Thank you, Roger.
Well, thank you for helping us keeping it going.